Good segue.
It is now.
All right, okay, good.
Thank God you were here.
Well, I guess we'll just take a quick step back before we get into what we've got put together again. Chelsea, River Valley Architects. River Valley was SDS Architects who did all the work here before, so they're partners with us, and we partners together, I guess, for a long time up at the district on all the work that's happened in the last referendum project, and actually you guys were here before that, even before that, so been a partner with schools for a long time. So a lot of the stuff is I won't say old information, but it was information that was in previous studies, and we've just resurrected it. So a while back, Colin reached out and said, hey, we're thinking about some ideas, planning stuff, so we're a long way from the R word, the R word being referendum, so at no point we're thinking referendum, that's your guys' job to kind of consider that. We've got information if that's something you guys want to consider. Our job today is just to provide you with the information that we've done to help you guys plan and start thinking about it, right? So you guys did a survey a while back, said, hey, athletics might be something on your radar screen, and so we took what was in previous planning documents, kind of updated it based on current conditions, maybe some changes that have happened since the last time we looked at it. So what we'll go through today is just kind of some high-level changes that we've got together, some site plan ideas. We'll show you some examples. You know, obviously we have not done any drawings or anything like that, so we've just shown you some examples of what could be type of thing for past projects that we've worked together on. We've got some high-level cost estimates put together, and then we put a really kind of rough timeline together if the group wanted to look at a potential referendum for next April, what that timeframe might look like. If that April wasn't, what do you want to do? You want to November? Let's look at that together. If you want to do anything, you don't do anything, kind of thing. So today is just purely informational, just to kind of get you guys' hamster wheels turning, get you guys thinking. And if you need more information on something one way or the other, hey, what about this or what about that, or did you guys think about this, or this is maybe a need that we didn't think about, shoot it out. We'll definitely look into it, right? So hopefully you guys recognize the site. And so each number, and I'll give you guys printed copies too if you can't see, but each number represents kind of a bundle of scope of work, if you will. So number one basically is representing kind of all the various kind of quote unquote field upgrades that we looked at. So replacing scoreboards, replacing goal posts, new flag poles, lighting upgrades, stuff like that. No turf at this point. We've talked turf a long time ago. Every school district talks about turf. We certainly can resurrect the turf conversation if that was something that, but at this point we've not talked about turf as part of this conversation. So kind of number one, if you will, because this will correlate back to the pricing later in the presentation, if you will. So kind of bucket number one is kind of everything inside the track, if you will, kind of all the upgrades. 2A and 2B are kind of one and the same. There's basically a new concession / storage / restroom building. It just gives you kind of two different options, right? So one option is out here, 2B, and then 2A is out here closer maybe to the other fields that we looked at. So say to be determined if you guys would proceed with that type of thing, but we looked at both options as a potential location that might make some sense. Option 3, or bundle kind of 3, is the resurfacing of the track, which I think everybody is realizing is in drastic need. And number 4 was kind of redoing the bleachers into the hillside here, new press box, and that was seating for about 500 people. So redoing all the bleachers and new press box. So high level, that was kind of the whole scope of work that we looked at. And been on site looking at it now for the last several months. So anything else we missed, Chelsea?
No, I think that's good. Any pause for questions?
In number 4, when you're talking about new bleachers, is that potentially on both sides?
We looked at potential there, but we really thought by the time it got way over here, it got so far away and everything, 500 was enough to hold everybody, so we kept everything on one side at this point. We did have that dialogue about whether we put them on both sides, one side. Certainly you could. There's some little bit of added cost. We start getting over there with trying to get accessibility over to that other side. Is it really needed? You know, all that type of thing. But certainly something that we can continue to look at, but, when we did look at it, really kind of been so close to the concession stand, the bathrooms, the parking lot, you got accessibility right there, all, you know, right away. Just kind of keep them all there, and the 500 seemed to be more than enough to kind of address everybody, so. But we did look at it.
Were you meaning both sides of north-south of the track, or even just both like the number 4?
Oh,
You were
no,
really
both.
meaning
Yeah.
north-south?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha,
Right.
gotcha.
Yeah, don't hear, right?
Just wanted to know,
Yeah,
yeah.
right, yeah,
And then of course, yes, the relocation of some of the track events would happen.
yep, that was another part, we had to move some of that track events, so.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but we did look at that, so that was something we did explore as we were looking through everything.
And the footprint is not, that's just kind of an approximate footprint right now, what the actual 500 seat looks like, we kind of have
Yeah.
to run that through still.
Any other thoughts or questions on this? Otherwise, I can shoot you through. So the next series of things are not anything specific. They just kind of show you kind of some examples of what ifs. And none of these are exact, right? So obviously, Bill Clear projects at turf field. We're not showing you the turf field, but we're showing you new bleacher systems or what that could look like. Obviously, the updated tracks. As far as the kind of same thing, new track, new bleachers, don't pay attention to the turf there. Alma Center, this is a project that we worked, with Chelsea's team on, so this concession slash storage slash restroom building is basically what we modeled your guys' pricing and size and everything on, cause it's a similar size district, so that's kind of what we quote unquote budgeted without having a formal design, so we just took those pricing and updated to today's dollars, so that's kind of in our head without knowing exactly what you guys wanted, that's what we use as a baseline, you know, if you guys proceeded, if you wanted something different, obviously, you know, get into that, right, but that was kind of the baseline for right now.
And that's driven too by the amount of plumbing fixtures that are required based on the 500 seat count bleachers too, so that should be where that's at.
Same percent one profile, which you see, so, you know, just showing you kind of examples of what could be. Norwalk's, trying to remember, there's one good picture here of bleacher systems. The Altoona one, the concession stand building is similar, it's another one that we worked together with RBA on, so that between that one and the Alma Center, those are the two that we modeled together. Again, the new track update, that'd be something, you know, we're looking at similar to what your guys' would be. I don't remember. There's one that's, put my glasses back on, sorry, there's one that shows the bleacher system that was,
Like a buried in.
yeah, sorry,
Is it-
this one here.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, this is very similar to what your bleacher system would probably look like, and so that's kind of the model, bleacher system that we looked at right now. So yours is a little bit different, up here because it'd be built into the hill, but similar bleacher system with a similar press box up on top, so real similar bleacher system there that we did down in Lisbon. So not one project kind of was like, hey, this is exactly the same,
Right,
but
right.
kind of bits and pieces, just
Yeah.
kind of give you a visual of what could be on some of those bits and pieces and parts and pieces, if you will. That make sense? So then we look at pricing. So on this page, we break down, kind of each one of those bundles. So you got the concession building, scoreboards and goalposts and bleachers, the stadium lane, track and surfacing, fencing, landscaping, site, concrete flagpoles, general conditions. And then we obviously, as we go through things, we don't know a lot of things right now. There's gonna be escalation between now and whenever we do something, contingencies, those types of things. So that kind of prices everything out. We've got, the fees and professional fees and all that stuff kind of in there. So this kind of represents if you did everything all at once, which no one's necessarily a suggestion, but if you did everything all at once, you know, you're looking at, you know, let's just call it 4.7 million-ish, right? So that was kind of the all-in, so to speak, number. And then we started thinking, so what we wanna do is price it out individually, so we started looking at if you did it in chunks. So part of the idea is if you guys proceeded into, hey, let's continue to explore, one of the other agenda items is let's see what the community says, right? So one of the things we wanna do with the community is give them options and see what their thoughts are on different price points, different parts of the plan. And so we started thinking as a group, kind of what would be maybe phases, if you will. So one phase that we thought would make some sense is obviously the track, lighting, seating, press box, might be one bundle. Scoreboard or goalposts, you might say, well, you're not gonna do that without that, but that might be a philanthropic component type of thing too. So obviously, I think you would try to do those two together, type of thing, but, you know, so you might test, you know, if you do the survey, you might test an option here and then the whole thing, or, you know, kind of thing, or, so you've got some options. The bathroom concession stand building is a big chunk, it's the single biggest scope piece of the things. That might be something we do today right away, or maybe that's something they hold off down the road. Maybe that's what you wait till you see what the community says. So we try to start thinking, but obviously that's something that you wanna get your community input on. But we try to start thinking of some different options. Maybe they support everything, maybe they don't support anything, maybe they'll support bits and pieces of it. So. Before we jump into timeframes and stuff like that, any thoughts or questions on kind of the scope or pricing, high level? All right. So you sent me school perceptions.
Okay.
And I sent this, I sent you, I did my schedule before you sent me this, so it might not be,
That's
it
all
might
right.
be a little bit, I mean,
That's all right.
we'll see how,
That's
we'll
okay.
see how good I guesstimated, but, so we got the August board meeting, so this is, there's no set schedule, right, but there's a couple key dates. So today's date is today's date, another key date is January 26th. If you guys are gonna go to referendum, that's obviously still a big if. But if you're going to go to referendum, that is the date that you need to have your resolution done by, alright? And so, that's a key date, and obviously April 6th is vote. So those are two dates in the line of the sand that we need to work around, right? So working backwards from here, if you guys continue to wanna proceed, you know, some thoughts that we would have is, you know, we're big on getting community input. So one thought might be, let's form an ad hoc committee. Ad hoc committees can do a lot of different things. They can be a conduit voice from the board, out in the community to get people at open houses, to be, spreading the word, to be a kind of a 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of, you know, gossip chain or whatever, communication chain, if you will. I mean, so they're a good, opportunity. We will tend to use these guys more down here, but to get those, you know, get that group formed early and say, hey, there's a survey coming, hey, you know, watch out for this and that coming up, might not be a bad, as long as you've got stuff coming. The community survey, I have it started, in October with results coming towards the end of November, and I'm not sure what they have.
Just to add a little to that, ad hoc group can, whether it's a
So
little
they had it coming in November
couple
16th.
board,
Yeah.
staff, community, and then that can be the focus group on future, like, planning discussions that kind of then come back and report, to the full team here.
So it wasn't too far out there. Right now, the school perceptions proposal or subsets, they're coming back November 16th-ish with survey results if we go down that path. So we have, I guess the idea is we get the results back to the board by the end of November-ish. That gives us basically 2 months to react to that. Slam dunk, people say, heck no, then it's easy. People say, heck yeah, it's easy. People say, I really like this one, I don't like this one, or if it's 49% and here, you know, those are the ones, so we wanna have time to massage things around a little bit, like, hey, maybe there's an option that tests a little bit iffy that we need to, let's take this out and put this in, or that type of thing, and that gives us a little bit of time right here to kind of develop and listen to the community feedback and give you guys time to react to that. We may or may not need that. If we don't, then we're just ahead of the schedule, right? During that same time, if you guys continue to proceed and if you wanted to go to referendum during that time, you'd be hiring your attorneys to write the resolution and all that kind of mumbo jumbo stuff. to form a board resolution. And then after that, we have 75 days to over communicate with the community, and our team would help you then, come up with a community-specific communication plan, right? So how we're gonna communicate is gonna be different for every community, so there's all kinds of different tools, there's mailings and social media posts and flyers and open houses and videos and, all kinds of different things, that ad hoc committee. So basically what we do is if you guys proceed, then we sit down and say, how's the best way of getting to your community? Everybody thinks about, obviously your parents are easy to get to, and they're the easy ones to vote yes. They're not the ones we're worried about. The ones we're worried about is the people that aren't in, don't have kids in school and aren't necessarily engaged with the district. Or maybe once were, but aren't anymore because their kids are gone. We wanna make sure that they're at least, in the know and know what the need is and what the whys are, so that they're educated when they go to the polls. And so that's how we get to those folks. So we'll put together the game plan. Both our teams have full graphic departments and all that kind of stuff, so we'll help put together all that kind of stuff. Again, like Chelsea said, that ad hoc committee can play a big role during that time, dispersing information, getting that information out to key groups. We'll put the admin staff on the road show and do soup with the soup or coffee with, all that kind of stuff. But really the idea there is you can't communicate enough, in the community about what's going on and the need and the why and the tax impact and how that's gonna, and just over communicating. We're all gonna be conduits, not us as much as you all, will be conduits for that. And then the April vote, so.
One thing too to add to, I think what Jason was saying about, I think the community sessions and the physical location meetings are not as well attended anymore. So trying to meet people where they're at, digital support with QR codes and links and social media shares for you too, I think that really lands the most, with the most people too, so we can kind of adapt to whatever you guys know your community will get.
So that was quick and probably a lot of information. I know you guys listened to it before the meeting. But, I guess for anybody else, like, any questions, or is there anything like, hey, why didn't you get to this, or why didn't you look at that?
I'm just
or-
thinking of the, communities, kinda hesitant because, looking at those numbers look really big, right? So if we're talking about the track, cause that has to, is option A like the bare minimum then? Do you know what I mean? Like, what if people are like, I'm for it, but it just has to be the track? Is it not?
Our track's in really bad shape.
Right.
Our bleachers at the football field are in really poor shape as well. Our difficulty is there are two locations.
Right, so we're
And
trying to
so
convince,
We got more than one issue to solve, but the track is getting to the point where it's unsafe, and the bleachers are getting to the point where they're unsafe, but they're at different locations. So, yeah, when our next step, and later in the agenda, we'll have school perceptions proposal on here.
right,
Then we'll meet with, I'm assuming Darren, and we will put together the question to give them a.
but the first one is like,
ABC.
hey, we're trying to.
Yeah, cause you can't do it out of order.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
sense building a concession stand if we're not gonna fix the track or move the bleachers, right? That's backwards.
Correct.
We can
Yeah.
live with porta potties, we can't live without safe seating for the fans, and we can't live with the track the way it is. So yeah, you gotta take care of your essentials first. Yeah.
So we do a ton with school perceptions, so I don't wanna guess what they're gonna do, but, and we'll sit in with that meeting too if you want, but, so we're doing it at Solon Springs right now, but my guess is what they'll want is for us to say, hey, what is kind of the base, what's the bare
To have
minimum?
to
What the
Right.
non-negotiable,
Safety,
Right.
and we'll want to say that, right?
Right.
And whatever that is, and then they'll have a question like, do you support the non-negotiables, boom, 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 boom,
Right.
at $10, or at $11.
Cause we were talking about like package A, package B.
Yep. And so, that's how we price it out, that's
That's
not
what-
how it's gonna go to the survey probably, cause they're probably gonna have, here's the base project of the base needs that we have to address. Here's a bunch of other things that need to get addressed that are optional, do you support the
Right.
concession stand building? Do
Okay.
you support the, stadium lighting, or whatever are the options that we're gonna throw on there?
Right,
They'll do that, and, they'll articulate how the best way to get the survey results
Okay.
of that. But we'll test a bunch of that. They'll also test the different tax impacts, like, hey, 2 million is a 10 cent increase, and 3 million is a 15 cent, you know, where do you,
Okay.
you know, at what point is, so that helps us then come back to that, you know,
What
that
the
month or
real-
two, like, how do we manipulate some of those things?
So when
Because-
they go to vote, that's what they're voting on.
What, and you gotta look at the numbers, but like, you can't just say, bleachers are 2/3 of $1 million because the escalating
Yeah.
costs and the construction
Right.
costs.
These other things.
Some of those things are a portion of that too, so it's
Yeah.
not just, you can't say, oh, stadium lighting is $783,336,
Yeah.
that's not it, it's, there's more to it than that.
Correct.
Yeah, so you can't break it out nice and neat with that
Right.
4.6
Yeah.
million there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not that clean.
So then, to April's point, a little bit, if we're creating, you know, those different options to get feedback from the community, do we have the numbers that we need if, let's say there's a world where the community says, yep, you can resurface the track, cause we understand that's a gotta have, cause there's a safety issue there.
Yep.
And we know our bleachers are unsafe, but we don't wanna move the football field, so we want you to fix the bleachers where they are. Do we have the numbers for that option to be explained, if that was what people chose?
To fix these bleachers here.
No, it'd be the bleachers at the old football.
Do you know what I
at the
mean?
current
Like,
football
if
field.
there's a world where
Right.
people say,
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
unsafe bleachers, but we don't wanna move the football field, we're not willing to pay for that, for the things that come along with doing that. But sure, but if we're saying
Can we-
the bleachers as they exist and where our current football field is located
Mhm.
are going to be unsafe, so that falls into the gotta have bucket. But if we gotta have it, but we can't move it, and we're stuck with where we are, what's it gonna cost to fix the bleachers where they sit?
I
That'd
would
be a
s-
good price to know, because it might be such that people look at it and go, it's like putting money in an old car.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like, wait a minute,
That-
that's a lot of money for
Yeah.
patch job, you know, so
Right.
it'd be a great number to have.
I don't know if we have that.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think the answer is we don't.
But we can get
But
it.
we absolutely will get that, that's really good.
That's kinda what I was getting at, cause
Yeah.
like some people might be like, no.
Yeah.
But we at least want something.
And I do wanna be able to show not just what is the cheapest choice, but what is the most responsible, fiscally
Yes.
responsible
Right.
choice, cause it
And
might
That's what
not be
Chris
the
is talking
cheapest
about.
choice.
That's what you mean by putting money in an old car.
Yeah.
Exactly, and so I wanna
It
make
might
sure
be
that
wise, but
it's
It might be
clear,
good.
Yeah.
might not be, right?
Well, cause you're right, like, by the
Maybe
time
something
you
like that.
resurface the track and build bleachers over at the football field, you might be close to the same cost of just,
Right.
yeah, so. Is, I mean, I understand, so it's kind of, yeah,
Like,
like
show
all
them,
all
like,
the
hey,
things together, so.
Yeah, by the time.
Then you have, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, prices can change a little bit, but you know what I mean, like more solid information, but
good
I think it
information to
is
share.
good to have, because there will be somebody who will, want to know that information, and that's fair.
and I think people need to know that we're looking at all of the different options and ways that you can piece together the project to be the most responsible.
Absolutely.
To that point, I think people will ask, if you move the football field, is the current scoreboard usable and movable? Is the current press box usable and movable? They're gonna ask those questions, and I think we have to have answers to those
Right.
things. And have looked at that, even if the answer is, nope, we can't move them, but we did look at it, and here's why they can't be moved, or that's not a good idea.
And there should be, you know, the survey has pockets of information with some content that you can kind of set the scene, and
Yeah.
it starts with a
Yeah.
message from Kyle, and kind of, you could, include that so people understand and know you did your due diligence.
And I do
and-
believe the original survey stated that people really did want to kind of see the football field and the track here at this building, right? Am I correct?
The first question was track, which included lights and bleachers, and that was,
Okay.
that was over 50% saying yes, explore it. And then it was about 48% said relocate the football field, and then there's what, 18% that was maybe,
Yeah.
didn't know, so
Okay,
yes, so.
yeah.
But they kind of, there's a
It
desire
was
by.
leaning towards getting
One
things all in
complex,
one
right,
facility.
yeah.
versus
Without
kind of-
numbers, though.
Without numbers, yes,
Right.
yeah, more,
Well-
but just of interest, yeah.
But in moving the press box, how much would that cost? I don't know,
Yeah.
we'll be figured out. Maybe it's impossible, maybe it is possible, at what cost? And replacing the bleachers over there compared to building new ones here, I don't know.
Right.
Well,
Cause if we don't move the football field, we have to maintain the current one, right? Like that, there's no way off of that.
Yeah.
You know, that, the option doesn't exist to not move the field and not maintain the current one, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So we need that to be clear and what the cost of those choices are.
Yeah.
We'll need that
I
for
think-
sure during open houses too, because that,
Mhm.
you know, it may not be, it might be hard to articulate all those what ifs in
Yeah.
the survey, but it will come up in an open house. So
For
when we
sure.
have that, if you go to referendum,
Or an
somebody's gonna ask that,
FAQ
and
or something, you can.
Yep.
we don't
Exactly.
ever wanna go to open house and be like, oh, shoot, we didn't think of that.
Correct.
Cause then we lose confidence, so we wanna think about all, no matter how crazy or wackadoodle it is, we wanna make sure we've had the answer for it, like, yep, we looked at it,
Yep.
it's a bad idea. We'll say it nicer than that,
Yep.
but we wanna always be able
You
to.
list out why it's possible.
Here's
or
why,
not
yeah,
possible.
here's why we think that's the more expensive choice
Yep.
and why we would go with this other option,
Yeah.
or whatever that looks like,
So
yeah.
that's really good, yep, good call.
Any other thoughts like that? That's good stuff.
Joe, I'm gonna invite you
I
to
was
jump
just gonna
in,
say.
cause you're here, this is our AD, by the way.
Yep,
Joe
we
Doxson,
went, Joe,
our
yeah.
athletic director.
No, you, Carrie, kinda, that was my thought about the bleachers having to be fixed anyways. If-
Yeah, okay,
And if, looking ahead, and if you've kind of heard from the survey results that it wants to be at this location, then it's kind of like, we don't wanna put money into something that's not part of our future plan and
Right.
not spend that wisely too. So it's like, we listened, this is now the investment, and
Mhm.
this is why we're doing that, but we have looked at some of those other options type of thing.
yeah, yeah, I think that's good.
Or even like, long-term, just with inflation and the cost of construction, like, people understanding it's gonna keep going up.
Yeah, it's not gonna get cheaper.
Right, it's just gonna keep getting
I
more.
mean, I
You
wish
know what
that
I
that
mean? Like,
option
even-
existed, but it doesn't.
When I saw the
If it did, we'd
concession
wait,
building,
right?
But even
I
like
think we
that,
did that for half of that on our
Yeah, it's-
Altoona, on the Altoona one,
Yeah, like 400,000.
which wasn't that long ago.
450.
Yeah,
It's crazy, it's like, I've been doing this a long time, and it's hard for me to look at customer and to explain why construction's as expensive it is right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's stabilized, like inflation used to be so hard, you can explain why it costs, you know, $1,000 today and it might be 1,200 tomorrow,
Right.
literally tomorrow. Yeah, at least that part's better, but I still can't explain 1,000, you know,
Yeah.
it's, you know, to think $1 million today, and I have to look people in, like, you don't get much for $1 million anymore, it just, it is mind blowing.
yeah, and I think when we talk about the different sort of buckets or options, you know, that sure, you could choose to do something like this in phases, but that means those later phases are going to cost more than what's here, so your total price tag isn't 4.7, it's something else.
Right, 'cause you guys, did you escalate, the budget is all at doing it in 2027?
27,
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly, yeah, so add 3 to 5%
So
if you
probably
phase it
about,
out.
That is probably also information that's helpful to have if we get to an open house stage,
Yeah.
where we can show people, you know, there is a cost to waiting, like, it may feel difficult to say, oh gosh, you know, this is a big number, especially for those of us that, you know, I live in a household of 4.7 million isn't part of my daily
Yeah.
conversation. Right, you know, and that's just not how that's not what my budget looks like. So those are jarring numbers for people, but if you can demonstrate what that looks like, if you choose to do some now and some in a couple of years and some a few years after that, like, what the costs are if you do make those choices, those numbers really go up a lot, and I think it's important sometimes to show people what that looks like, cause I wouldn't be thinking that way if I wasn't having these conversations, and most of our community isn't here.
Well, and I think construction goes up as fast as anything, overall inflation. It just seems like that's a sector that,
Sure.
It's definitely more volatile.
yeah, it's volatile, that's the
Yeah.
word, volatile is a great word.
I mean, the steel and some of the foreign, oil price and stuff, they, you know, the blink of an eye, that can go changing quick, you know.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So looking at the budget, if you're looking at like the scoreboard cost specifically, so that 119,000, is that the cost of a brand new scoreboard?
Yeah.
Okay. Cause like Carrie was alluding to, the scoreboard we have at the football field is only 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
So again, if there are costs, if it's even possible for that to get transferred
I'm sure
over.
it is.
Okay.
We didn't look at that. This was,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
this was goalposts and scoreboard.
Right.
So I think
Yep.
it's like 20 by 8 foot basic.
And then you gotta
scoreboard.
think, Joe, would you ever use the other field
Or
in the
something
future?
that you.
Right.
You took the scoreboard
Stay.
out, now you can't, you don't have a scoreboard to use there.
Right.
If you use JV or middle school football or some
Mhm.
activity, it's gone, when you move it, it's gone, you
Yeah.
know?
Right,
Yeah,
it
and,
does change the use case of the field, of that field moving forward. I
Yes, it
don't-
does.
Yeah, I don't know, we have to think through that.
So just, I mean, I'm just looking to assume spring 2027 start, but like, if this moved all the way through and it went to an April 6th referendum and a passed, so like, that's April 6th of 2027,
Yeah,
so like,
it's
that's,
probably off a little already.
yeah, I mean, I'm just,
Yeah.
This would be good for a June start.
but like,
Yeah.
what, but I mean, is that what I mean, like,
Yes.
it is something that could get going right away, I guess is really my bottom line question, like,
Yeah,
obviously not
most
April
of stuff
7th,
doesn't
but.
take it. Like,
Yeah.
the concession stand building probably wouldn't start till, if that was part of that potential, but if it's start passing April, it'd probably be a fall start.
Yeah, I would think,
Because we got design, and there's
yeah.
design there, but the rest of the stuff probably could start in the summer.
It's
A lot
also
of
a
that stuff.
season for those sports.
Yeah, yeah, so, no, and that's what, I mean, I realized it wasn't going, but I just was thinking like, how truly, like, how quick of a turnaround can you make due to the fact that like, once again,
This
like,
was
there's.
easier than a building, a lot of these, when they're doing a school project, and all of a sudden you gotta do a building project, it was
Yeah.
like, well, how fast can we get it down, like a year.
Yeah,
Right,
right, 'cause
design,
you have to
everything's
make
ready, so
plans.
it's this a little bit easier,
Yeah,
because
Definitely.
all outside.
a lot of it's more maintenance, when it's,
Yeah.
the design requirements, engineering
Yeah.
requirements are far less.
No, I
than
mean, I think it's
building.
nice to know that too, though, like, if it did,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's not like we're gonna vote on it, and then 3 years later, we'll have the new track to run on, you know what I mean,
Right.
that it's going to be immediate,
Yeah.
or immediate.
Yep.
So,
And that could be part of some of the materials too, potentially, if it's like, we assume 2 to 3 months of design and bidding, and then however many months of
Mhm.
construction. We can provide some of that information.
To that point, this feels like a dumb question in my head, but I genuinely don't know this, how the workflow goes. If we went to referendum in April and the project started, fall football season 2027, games are played where?
well, fall of 26 would still be its current location.
27.
Cause you,
27, that's my question.
right, then the next year, right, yes.
So fall
28.
28.
Fall
is
28
when
before
they're
you're
doing
doing football.
Yeah, I think we could get her done before the football season of 27.
Before 27.
We'd have to start, you don't think we could get done before?
Not,
I would say track of 27 would be on the current track, if we-
Yeah,
right, with
Yes,
with
right.
construction happening over the summer, but I don't know what football of 27, or if it's football 28.
could
That's
it be
what I
done in
was
3,
thinking.
could it be done in
Yeah.
3 months?
Yeah.
that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
It might be,
Like-
there might be some later games or something like that, but I don't think you're gonna
Okay.
open, I don't think opening days can be,
Cause that'll be the question,
Yeah.
that's the question people will ask.
Yeah.
Growing grass is hard.
That's true.
Yeah, especially,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
Yeah,
some
just long
nature
as
in
it's the
August.
earth moving, yeah, it's
Yeah.
the earth moving, and then,
that's the
and
challenge.
it has to be decent, because you can't have the football team go up there and rip it up the first,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
first
That along with-
season.
Yeah.
I just know from experience that that's what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Well, we got one late in the season, they were all happy, but, yeah,
Mhm.
it was
Yeah.
not. Mhm.
Alright.
Cool,
Other thoughts, questions?
it's a lot to digest.
Yeah, but it's a helpful, it's a really helpful start, and it's helpful to have, yeah, to be able to talk about the different pieces of the project, because we do wanna be able to give the community options and get feedback truly on what they will support.
Yeah.
Um,
The survey is a critical part,
Yeah.
because the community it's their project, it's their money, it's their
Yep.
school, so we need their feedback, so. Our role is to just put all the parts and pieces out there for them to listen and test, so as we work with, the administrative team and school perceptions, we'll make sure we kind of test the base and then test all these options, so that when they bring those results, that's why we always like that extra month or 6 weeks or something like that, to just look at the results and be able to, I don't say manipulate, because that's all that we're doing, so, but to take and react to.
Look at options, yeah.
And listen and react to what the community said.
Yeah.
Cause just cause we said, hey, here's a good package, it doesn't mean, we wanna listen to what they say.
Mhm.
And I would say kind of the next steps, looking ahead towards when that survey goes out, that's when you'll kind of have to, whether it's this team with a team of ad hoc, however that, kind of figure that dynamic out, but then also, and that, those groups then kind of decide the bundles, right? What do you wanna test? Cause you don't wanna test 8 things, you don't wanna, you know, 2 or 3, I think there's a sweet spot that school perceptions will kind of advise on of what they know to be successful. So there's a spot to maybe decide if there's a base and 2 to 3 other tests you wanna do, and, go into the survey planning with them before it's issued, and they'll kind of advise on, ooh, I maybe wouldn't separate that one that way, based on, they've done so many hundreds of surveys that probably are very similar. Even like understanding the athletic angle too, and they're really great at all that good stuff.
And then the
Which
last
is
kinda,
a couple months out.
I'll say, warning your piece of advice, since I've gone through this a million times. If you go to survey, listen to the survey. Alright, cause if you listen, we get a lot of boards, I'll give you an example, like, you get a board member that, oh, I really want that bathroom, cause I really hate going in the board, my God, I want to, and it tests terrible, and then they force it into there, and then it fails because you didn't listen.
Yeah.
Don't do that, if you're gonna do that, then don't go to survey. Cause it does it worse, cause then you listened, you went to the community told you what to do, and then the board decides something different.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do that, then don't go to survey, just let's do what you guys think, and that's great, then hey, here's, we think this, but if you don't do, so listen to the survey.
That's great advice. I think this group agrees. That's a
Yes.
great call.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
You'd be surprised, some of them,
Yeah.
and most of them do, but as soon as there's been a handful of them, as soon as they do it, you know this thing's got one down the right path, it's not
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You know, and it might be the right answer, the hard part is like, I did one and it was the right answer. The board was 100% in the right, it's the right path, but it's not what the community wanted, and like, you know, it's tough.
Yeah.
It puts you guys in a tough position. But- All right, well, we're both here to help, if you have design questions, you have concerns, whatever you need, reach out, let us know, we'll work with, the team and the survey group, if that's the path that you guys end up deciding to go down. But we're here to help, and whatever, if there's, you know, something pops up tonight, is it Jeremy? Justin, if you think of something, you know, Joe?
It's okay.
I think Jason.
Jason, Joe.
Jason, Joe,
It's all
Jeremy,
the same. It's
if there's something, you know, that you think of as, you know, as I'm hearing from your coaches and students they're using and stuff like that, if there's anything that you think of that we should be thinking about or pricing up or whatever, just let us know too. Cool?
Thank you so
All right.
very
Thank
much.
you guys.
One last quick
Oh,
tidbit.
yeah.
Oh,
Jason, what was your last name?
Plant, it's
Thanks.
Plante, it's like plant with an E at the end.
I had that, just wanted to double check.
Gotcha.
Thanks.
one last quick tidbit I was gonna ask, there may be, or mention opportunity with the school coming back, everyone coming back to school, that if, depending on what you guys decide on the survey, it's always good to kind of put that out there and let people know so it doesn't land, and they don't know it's coming, so maybe there's some communications or open, you know, whatever might be coming up, that is an opportunity to kind of start sharing the word that these might be landing in the mailboxes soon, or however that.
We have a September newsletter coming out.
Yep.
Yep.
And that'll hit, and then we get some municipalities up too, and let get the word out. So,
Oh,
yeah,
perfect.
we'll beat the streets.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Alright, well,
Thank
thanks
you so
guys,
much.
thanks for your
Thank
time.
you.
Appreciate it.
I'll probably call you tomorrow, Jason.
All right, sounds good.
Sing it for us amigos, I think, yeah. Thank you.
Yep, have a great night.
Thanks so much for
Yep.
coming. All right, we're on to, persons requesting an audience with the board. Going once, going twice, going 3 times, all right. Next, on to our consent agenda. Let's see, there are minutes there for review, and then Kyle, were there things you wanted to mention about invoices and receipts?
The invoice, 30083 Larson Auto Center, $32,062.50, that's for the new van. At the end of 25-26, we put $50,000 into Fund 46, and told Carl go get a good deal at Larson's, and Larson's has always treated us well, so we have another van in our fleet. The van it replaced, we decided was more valuable to us than for trading in, so we kept it. But I told the team, when it dies, we're not putting more money into it, when it dies, and so we're gonna run it into the ground, and that's good. So that's the highlight there. And then if you look on cash receipts, you'll see Lux School District 242,881. That's the school site, so they paid us the $52,111 there. And for the track softball co-ops, which we would host, 242,895, Lux sent us $13,881.75. So that is good. And then you should have a letter from the auditor. I put by your spot, I just gave them a copy that says what they do when they do an audit, how it works. It was addressed to the board, so I gave you your copy. And then here's the year-end summary kind of from Libby on how we got to where we were, because we ended up with a surplus of $121,219 for the 25-26 school year, 50,000 of which we put into the Fund 46, and the remaining went into our fund balance, so we went up this year in 25-26. This year we'll probably go in the red, but that's how last year was planned as well, so it's okay. But this is really good. We're in the black and we plan on being in the red. So.
Any questions for Kyle about that year-end estimate? You may have been able to look it over.
And that's unaudited. The auditors were here. They'll come back probably at the December board meeting with the audited version. But everything went well during that 4 days they were here, so. And kudos to Libby for what she does.
Sure, absolutely. Alright. Any questions there? Anything else about the budget information, Kyle, that you wanna be talking
No,
about or pointing out?
that's-
You've got stuff coming up in your report.
That's it. Yeah.
Contracts and hiring, again, fall sports season, so we got a lot of different, things happening with coaching. So I don't know if you wanna speak about any of those
We will be
specifically?
fully staffed for fall coaches and winter coaches.
We have a couple winter still, but
Okay, a couple winter, but yeah, we have Leah Tesh moving from assistant high school cross country to head high school cross country. Ella Rockbacher is gonna be the assistant cross country coach. Brandon Olson has agreed to do the middle school cross country. And all of those three are, well, the high school and middle schools with Luck. Ashley Schmidt, middle school volleyball, Jessica Fletchinger, okay, middle school volleyball, and then Dana Johnson is the middle school cooperative wrestling coach. And then the resignation is for the one lady who, said she was a coach and then relocated back to the city within 2 months, so.
Okay.
We had her and lost her
Yeah.
before she even started, so.
Alright, we have some donations to recognize. Gone Green, was a whole sponsor for the football golf scramble. Northwest Electric, they gave $445 toward the softball program, and this was after the softball athletes ran a pitching machine for the company during their annual family picnic at Coon Lake Park. So that's a really nice relationship, and opportunity for students there, for the softball team. And then, we wanna give recognition for a grant that was awarded. Carrie Ide was awarded a grant from, Everwood Farmstead Foundation in the amount of, $1,375. And the project description, relates to imagination to creation. And so it's a K-12 collaborative that pairs elementary students with high school mentors. So that's a very exciting opportunity, and congratulations to Carrie for that grant. That's terrific. And then we also have in our consent agenda, every year we need to, we're presented with the annual seclusion and restraint report. And just as a board, we have to accept the report is what it is, they're reporting it to us, the numbers. Kyle, you wanna?
Yeah, Jade Anderson prepared this and gave it to Corey to finalize, and we're pretty good. Yeah.
Feeling good
And
about it?
nothing's identified, so that's good.
Right, yeah. So if there are no questions, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, April. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, consent agenda is approved. We're on to our administrative reports. Okay, who wants to go first? Marcus, Aaron? Who's ready? All right, go for it.
So we have our curriculum materials here. We've had years when they're not here when the teachers show up, and that's terrible, so that feels good. iReady Math was the first content area that we renewed 5 years of. We did scale back the original order, I think, with the referendum dollars and stuff, all the bells and whistles were purchased, right? So there's an adaptive learning piece called MyPath. And not including that went from $52 a student to $32 a student. So, I prepped the teachers, talked about it first. I did not get any big emotional reactions, which was great. I was planning for, you know, when you have something, you never wanna get rid of it.
Yeah.
So that'll be very low impact, but we'll have to do that with all of the content areas, is what are the, what's essential and what's not, right? And good teaching is good teaching, so we gotta be mindful with those dollars. So I just wanted to report that transition went smoothly. Onboarding with our next path, that's that system that replaced EduClimber, that was far less expensive. That is all ready to go. This is huge in my world because it's gonna manage all the Acts 20 reading plans, the EL plans, the Title I compacts, the GT plans, right? And it's just, it'll be great for our special ed department because, and our school psych, because now all data and information is in one place. So I'm really excited to start using that, and really you know, the thumb is on us with requirements, and so to have less people managing paperwork, this will be far more efficient. So I'm excited to kind of report on how that's going, but that's all fingers crossed, ready to go. We'll see if it's actually ready to go. I've experienced that before, where you think it's all good and then all of a sudden, oops. But I've got the elementary staff coming in tomorrow. They all chose to have the same flex day, so we're gonna get that curriculum work done to transfer the standards that are taught in quarters as opposed to trimesters. So that'll be really good work for them to all be in the same room for. Then the grade above and the grade below is there to ask questions. Yeah. So otherwise, this is just busy time of year.
Excellent. Any questions for Aaron? All right, okay.
So you got football team, had their first scrimmages, the first game is coming up Friday, and all the other sports are starting up, so it's been really nice to see the kids back at it and walking around kinda sore when they're coming in, complaining about their coaches. It's always great to see. Our AD, Joe Draxler's been doing an exceptional job getting the coaches set up for success, filling in with help as necessary. Athletic night went really well. Coaching meeting was successful, as well as many athletes and parents coming in. Open house is gonna be Wednesday, August 26th from 5 to 7. So encouraging all students to come by and say hi to the teachers. Primarily though, over here we'll have 6th grader orientation at 5:30 and freshman orientation at 6:30. Our teachers will be here for everybody though, of course. Ms. Saadi's been building curriculum and schedules for Viking time, to work on skills needed post-secondary readiness. Working on topics such as professional etiquette, emails, interview skills, responding to employers and colleges. Careers class will also help them with actual interview experience, which will reach out to community members as we also have a helicopter coming. That's kind of exciting. thing. So she's had lots of people from the community and former students come back that are now professionals. So it's really fun class, fun opportunities for the kids to see. Just been working hard on student council run activities, so she's been, had a very productive summer as well. Financial literacy training, with Jess Sarnke went exceptionally well. Donna Teets, Kathy Mischler, and Ella Rockbauer all participated and performed exceptionally well in the meeting. Everyone left with a better sense of standards, new resources to use in their courses. I can tell you at the beginning of the training, you feel like tension, of just, maybe uncertainty what to do, or just felt new, and the training went really well, and at the end, they felt like you could really feel, they felt very comfortable, spoke well about things, had a really good path, and really have a good resource, and with each other as well, and they have plans to bring those, skills to their staff members too, so, I think that went really well.
I had stopped in the one day and Donna said basically exactly that starting the training, she was a little apprehensive, she wasn't really sure, she wasn't sure how it was gonna go, was it gonna be useful, and she was super excited about how it went, which is great, yeah.
New staff and service was, yesterday and today. Go tour, district tour, with Carl was fun today. Second business meetings as well as, time with mentor teachers and plenty of classroom prep time as well. We also went and picked up our new, math teacher at the airport, Aaron and I did, and Mrs. Matrillo, and that was a lot of fun. So he's been acclimating in well, and, yeah, it's good, it's been good, so, that's all of that.
Any questions for Marcus? Alright, you can see that Corey did submit a report, so you can review that, and Kyle.
Yeah, August 7th, I went down to Madison to participate in the WSB Insurance Plan Trustees and Advisory. We had 3 different insurance brokers come in and talk about trends in the world. Health insurance is getting later and later to give you an estimate, and they won't give you more than 1 year, just the way it is. And they said that some districts, because of their financial situation, are cutting back on property insurance, which in the long run could affect them if there was storm damage or problems. So it's kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul, but sometimes you have to do what you gotta do, so. But it was a good day. Our insurance carrier for dental and vision will be Reliance Standard, which did give us 2 years. A rate increase of 8% for the first year, and the same, and it's equal the second year. And I did stop by some local businesses to talk to represent about if they come speak to our careers class. I stopped at 7 businesses, and 6 of them were really receptive to it, so it's good. And they even talked about helping out with mock interviews, so it's just good to meet people, and it didn't, I mean, it was easy. And then I'm working, through a series of meetings on suicide prevention. And I say it's good training, but it's not a great topic, but it's important, so it's been good, yeah. And that might lead to, the gentleman's out of Milwaukee, and he offered to come and talk to our whole staff sometime if we pay for his travel and hotel, but no cost for the training. So I'm gonna sit through the next session and then decide if that's something we'll bring for the whole staff later, so. It's, you never know who the connection is with a kid around here, so it's all good.
Did you wanna say anything about this?
Oh, yeah, I should. I started going around the town hall meetings, and I gave you each a sheet, and that's basically what I'm highlighting. The budget last year, the budget this year, and then where the community survey was, and highlighting the financial literacy work that we did and how we've increased that curriculum. And then, of course, the track and football field potential, letting people know it's coming. And what's the last one? Oh yeah, district newsletter, and I had my first 2 town hall meetings last night, and both went really well. There's about 8 people at each, so it's kind of that grassroots, get out there, tell a few at a time, because you don't get a crowd here, so you gotta go to them, and that's good. I have been asked about the joint board meeting we had with Simon and Webster, and I just kinda honest about the fact that we will help our neighbors out when we can, but we've gotta take care of ourselves first, and it's been well received by the people so far, so, yeah.
Excellent.
Quick question, which 2 town halls were those?
I went to Bolton Lake and West Sweden last night.
Oh, thanks.
Alright, any questions for Kyle? Alright, we're on to, board member reports and governance. I think committee reports, we don't have any committees that have met since our last meeting, so there's no updates there, well, facilities, that's what we just did. And Kyle
Yeah.
has something.
WSB sent, myself letters for Emily and Carrie because they've reached new levels with their WSB work. Emily's at level 2 and Carrie's at level 3, so congratulations. Did you get a letter on that? You should've got one. Maybe it's your mailbox at home, congratulations.
I'll look forward to it.
Alright, so
Check
that's-
your
that's
mailbox.
good. Check your mailbox, it's good mail, yes, it's not a bill, so that's good.
Alright, and then we did just wanna provide an opportunity, we haven't been together since the joint board meeting, so if we wanted to provide an opportunity, if anyone has any thoughts they wanna share, or, just things to think about from having participated in that meeting, I thought it was incredibly useful. Just it was more informational, it was a little more presentation than meeting, cause there wasn't a lot of, there wasn't board participation or discussion. Which I think was important for everyone to first get good information, I think that was helpful.
No, I think it was nice too, the topics that were presented, that like, it was a wide area,
Yeah.
so the 3 school districts, and so like it gave people specific talking points too, so that when people say like, why aren't you looking at consolidation, or why are, you know what I mean, those kind of things, like, here's what it takes, and that it is not,
Yeah.
let's do it and it's gonna start tomorrow, kind
Yeah.
of thing, that all of it's a process, and so I think that was good to publicly, have that out there too, so that, and like Kyle said too, like, definitely you wanna share what you can with your neighbors, but you need to make sure that you're doing what's in the best interest of your own district first, so.
I was really happy and appreciative that they took that WSB and the superintendents from the 3 districts took such time to put together that presentation. Kyle and I were talking about, having that presentation available on our school website, I think Siren was putting it on theirs.
It is on ours now.
So that
Oh,
then
okay.
our community members, if people are interested in that, you can let them know that the presentation is available on the website if they wanna take a look at it. I'm assuming that we can look at it, but there are a ton of links in that presentation that take you to lots and lots of information, more information than a person probably wants to consume, but lots of information. And I think the presentation did a nice job of laying out those timelines, that cooperative agreements are absolutely possible, but none of them are quick. There's so many different legal realities that have to be accounted for, and I thought that point was made really clearly in that discussion. And so I think it's important that everyone knows what those realities are. And as Kyle said, we wanna be helpful where we can be, and our responsibility is to our community and students. So, any other thoughts from that?
No, I just think it was helpful to me, because like when you're reading it, sometimes it's like, oh, even how it's presented, being like, yeah, consolidation, like you just think, oh, this little school becomes a part of this big school, it's like, no, you're liquidating everything, rejoining it, it's a new sports team, it's new this, it takes years and years and years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's a great deal more complex than people
Than
realize.
just even that
Yeah.
term, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I felt the same way. I thought it was a really useful discussion, so I'm glad that happened, and thank you again to WSB and for the superintendents for all the work they did to put it together, because I thought it went well.
I saw Ben was in Madison and told him,
Yeah.
nice job, and thanked him for coming out,
Yeah.
Bob Butler was there too, so it was
That was
good.
really great.
Yeah, they're good guys, and they just were matter of fact about it,
Yes.
here it is.
Yeah, like there was no like, you should or shouldn't do this, but it was just like, this is what it is.
Right,
And so I
here's the
think it was
menu of
just
what
factual
you can,
information.
yeah, exactly.
And then we had our board goal setting meeting with our admin team on July 23rd. So I think we have, the board goals were in your extras, just for review. And so we have now our 26-27 goals that we established in that meeting, and then just looking out that 2 to 5 year plan, so that we can, you know, use these to guide ourselves moving forward, the things that we think, you know, that we really wanna work on. Obviously establishing a district newsletter, exploring this feasibility of the track and field project, where, you know, those things are already underway. Focusing on the post-secondary readiness and including our community partnerships in that focus. Improving our student proficiencies in, universal reading ELA best practices across the curriculum. And focusing on implementing professional development for our staff that happens outside of our district. So trying to be intentional about finding opportunities for our staff, to seek professional development outside of our walls and bring those goodies back to our community and district. And then just starting the process to explore best practices in utilizing AI within a public school. This is a topic that's moving faster than really any of us can imagine on some days, and so we just kind of agreed that we need to increase our awareness and start to understand this a little bit better, to know what we even what needs to be on our radar and how to think about it. Both in terms of how students might be interacting with AI and what those opportunities are for staff. So those were our 26-27 goals.
And the way they're teched up, does that capture everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's great. Yeah. So, a broad spectrum of things to work on, but that's always one of my favorite meetings in the year, coming together with the admin team and really talking about what we wanna focus on, and I think that's very helpful, and then we can, you know, make sure the community understands these are the things we're looking at. As we were setting these goals, we were looking at survey feedback, what the community has asked us to do, so that was a big guidepost in, getting to these goals, so. All right. Back to my right screen here. So on to our action items. The first one is to officially have a motion on record to adopt these goals. So if there are no changes to how that's presented, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Chris and then Emily. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, goals adopted. The second item is consideration and possible action regarding the use of school perceptions for a community survey on the track and field and football field proposals. So in your extras, there's a proposal document from School Perceptions. We've worked with them before. The process would be very similar. We would go to survey design. Sounds like if we need support from Market and Johnson or River Valley Architects, they'd be willing to help us with survey design if that's important and helpful. So, you know, we would go to survey design, they would do the survey as they did with our previous community survey, and then present results. Kyle, what do you wanna mention here?
I think we need them. I mean, you can't have a big project like this, or potential, or maybe not a project without knowing, and we did a community survey last October, November, and the results gave us some direction. We've done that. We've heard from the staff in the spring. You heard from Jason tonight. This is a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So total cost of the survey, if we choose to use it, is, I don't know if there's
Depends
a
on the
final,
options.
there's some
And
options.
I'd like to
some different
walk
options.
through it with, it's gonna be about $7,000 total. $7,500 total. And I mean, it's money well spent. And I like having a third party too, because it's not us.
Well, and I think the nice part is that like even the information, it wasn't us trying to decipher our own, they were able to, categorize things together and then, you know what I mean, otherwise, we're
Absolutely.
trying to like make sense of the questions that were answered.
Right, they dissect it out for you.
Yeah, and,
Well, like Jason said, you know, you can't have your parent group, well, yeah, they're gonna be for it. Well, give us the non-parent, non-staff group, and what percentage of the people responding are, that's too big for us to manage.
and I would assume this would be like similar as the last one, that like there, people could answer by a paper or a
Yes,
QR code
yeah,
online.
exactly
So
the same.
Same thing, like reaching the community members where they're comfortable.
Yeah. Yep, with lots of opportunities, and then knowing that the response rate that we're getting, are we getting a response rate that actually then leads to information we can rely upon? And I think having that data behind what's happening and having school perceptions be able to give us that, understanding, and to be able to know if we're not getting the response rate that we need to do a better job before the survey closes of getting community members, engaged and answering the questions, I think is really important too. Cause we can track response rate while the surveys are done.
Which is super nice too.
Super helpful.
Yeah.
Yep. Any questions about the proposal from school perceptions for that? If not, can I get a motion to approve the use of school perceptions for that survey? I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, school perceptions. Once again. All right. So discussion of establishing the future board member dates, looks like we need to look, or board meeting dates and committee dates, looks like we need a policy committee meeting.
Yes.
So I'll let you guys discuss when that might be able to happen, or what that needs to look like.
And Renee, do you wanna get into the school year first,
I mean,
ideally? Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying, I think you would.
I mean, I was gonna say
Well, you're the
like,
one who's
yeah,
wearing it.
probably like,
Right,
like, are you thinking like after Labor Day?
yeah, I was thinking after
Okay.
Labor Day, yeah.
Um, Do you have times that are good for you? Like, I
Does
would need it
September-
after
does
school, like
September
at 4
14th
o'clock.
work?
What's that?
Would September 14th work, a Monday?
That actually, on my calendar, looks like it would work well, so.
Okay.
Yes.
I had the Frederic Village meeting at 7 o'clock that night, so we could do it.
Well, then you can, yeah,
and
do
then
that,
go-
and
Yeah,
then,
right,
do we wanna do like 4:30, does that work?
Whatever works for you.
Okay, 4:30 gives me a little more wiggle room.
okay, 4:30.
good, 4:30 on the 14th.
Does that give you enough time, Kyle?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Alright, and then our next regular board meeting is September 16th at 5:30. And then we have our annual meeting, September 28th at, also at 5:30, so we have 2 meetings. I guess the other thing that we didn't add, but we did wanna ask, tonight is if board members would be available to host board tables at open house next week.
I'm not available.
Yeah.
It's next Wednesday from 5 to 7.
Next Wednesday from 5 to 7. Anyone?
I could be available after sixth grade orientation and I'm in charge of another kiddo, so I'd have to return him home.
Got it.
So, but I could come back.
Would it,
So it'd
and
be later.
I think you won't need to attend open house as well.
Right, I think it would be better, I went at 5 and then maybe at 6. Would it be okay to do it for like an hour?
Would it work for you to, do the first part of the table at the elementary school and then April to take over when she is done?
So what time frame?
5 to
Well, wait, what time
No,
did you?
I would
she
rather
wants to
do,
sit
I would
till
rather do
5.
5 to 6.
For the
Yeah.
table.
For the table,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yep,
Back,
okay.
I said it backwards.
Yes,
Yes.
And then 6 to 7,
sure,
you could do?
yeah, that would be fine.
And then
Is that,
could
I
we,
would do later, I would
Yep.
have to be there later. Oh, I could be there right away and then,
So this
whatever
would be
works.
five to
elementary school for me.
5:30,
Yes,
and then
please.
I'll come after.
so if you
We'll
two
have the
do the
table set up
elementary,
for you.
Emily and I can handle the high
Yeah.
school, and I can be here for the whole time, so you can just join when you
okay.
are available.
Okay.
That'd be great.
is the do I have to get the table?
No,
or will
no,
the table
we'll-
be
we'll
open?
be set
I
Okay.
got
You just
you.
get to show up and smile.
You just show up and
What?
sit.
Yeah.
so
That's fine. Okay, we good?
We'll have pens and stickers and candy for you to hand out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially the candy I brought.
It'd be good to I wonder,
So
okay,
there's a good
does
discipline
anybody-
for-
Yeah,
I don't know if
it
we
gets
wanna
in
do
this.
Mhm.
I don't know about the parents and
Well, yeah, I gave it out to last two meetings I went to, cause
I feel like.
I
there's
spoke and I
that's
handed it
like
out,
what I
yeah.
mean, it's
So you'll have,
special treatment.
we'll have at the table copies of the goals that we just approved.
Yeah,
So people can, if they wanna take a copy, they can take a copy, and then this document that Kyle's been sharing at town hall meetings, or at the municipality meetings, have a copy of that as well. So people can have, there's some information on there that you can talk with people about.
Okay.
If you want. Alright. Okay, that's all of our scheduling. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Oh, wait.
Parent teacher conference,
Oh.
just put it way on your radar, way
Yep.
ahead, is Thursday, October 29th from 1 to 7. Not that we're scheduling who's where that night, but just so we have some awareness out there, cause that'll be about survey time,
Yeah,
right? I know it's October, but,
I have volleyball.
yeah,
Oh, no,
October 29th, hopefully you got it.
yeah. So we just wanted to get that date on people's radar, so you can
I'll put it
start
on my
considering your schedule, and we can,
Just-
and we'll
just
talk
think
about it at a future time, but we thought, instead of doing it the week before, like, or the day before, like sometimes, let's think about the date earlier.
Did you say 1 to 7 that day?
1 to 7
Okay,
on
what is it?
Thursday,
So I'm aware of it.
October 29th from 1 to 7.
So we can think about it again in our September meeting and be kind of thinking about schedules and what that might look like,
Okay.
cause obviously it's goofier timing than the evening times.
Right.
But we can have conversation. Alright, now can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, 6:42, Emily. Thank you, everybody.